presented with this bill, as well as other members of the Senate, will similarly give it that accelerated, support, Here, no, there would not be any public take place on the floor of the Senate. Definitely will receive overwhelming support of virtually all the senators. Why? Because health is a major priority.
Well, thank you very much. That's interesting to know. Health is a priority. Whether it has been given the space of priority that it deserves is another, but this is a welcome development coming from you, sir. Now, Dr. Magashi, we are looking at investment, and this is what you've always spoken to, investment in healthcare delivery service, the importance of it. Now, let's use the lens of the Nigerian Health Infrastructure Development Bank as it is now. What are the things that you think would deliver on improved healthcare delivery service?
So thank you very much. I think the Nigeria Health Development Bank is a game changer in Nigeria. You are aware at the global level we have the World Bank. At the Africa level we have the Africa Development Bank. And there are so many global mechanisms in the world supporting the health sector, the Global Financing Facility, the Global Alliance for Vaccine, the Global Fund for HIV, TB, and Malaria. These are global investment for health in Nigeria. We're happy they are around, but they will not be always available, for Nigeria health sector. We need to have our homegrown investment. So this is the reason why the Nigeria Health Infrastructure Development Bank is a game changer. And let's look at the development in the health sector. The COVID-19 has shown to us that we have more challenges in health sector than we have imagined before. So for example, we go to our primary healthcare facilities. There are no services, not because there are no human resource, but because there are no infrastructure. There are no toilets, there are no functioning maternity, there are no functioning theater for operation. When you go to the labor room, you have to even bring water, from outside now for a woman to deliver in the facility. That is, a decay of infrastructural development. When you go to the secondary center for referral, there's no ambulance that will take even the patient refer from the primary health care to the secondary care. If there's ambulance, there's no fuel, there's no driver, there are no equipment, there are no emergency staff that will deliver. Now, from the secondary center to the tertiary facility, the challenges are the same. When you go to the tertiary institution, we have the buildings, but many structures are dilapidated. Our cancer machines are not working, or they will start working, there's no maintenance because there's no funding. When you look at the whole issue of infrastructure in the health sector, there's a lot we can do. That is why I call this bill the game changer in Nigeria.
Game changer.
In Nigeria.
That's exciting. And we certainly can build a bridge, right?
Exactly.
So we are going to build a bridge that will at least assure us of some measure of improvement.
Exactly.
Because most of the developing countries, or developed countries rather, that we take our patients to, what they have that we don't have is, you want to answer to that?
Yeah, it's the infrastructure. All these things are really there because there is, first, apart from the manpower, which is really there, the infrastructure. Infrastructure here about the facilities, about the equipments, to diagnose, and then the even medicine, that is really there. So all the building block of health, which are about 6, they are always, available in any facility you can really visit, outside. And most of the things are absent, in Nigeria. I was privileged, when I was in the House of Reps and the deputy chair of the Committee on Healthcare Services to tour a lot of the primary healthcare, centers across the 6 geopolitical, zones. And you can hardly find a primary healthcare center that is functional. That is where you have majority of Nigerians, and that is why mortality rate, being it infant, being it maternal, is very, very high among, Nigerian really. So the only way we can really make progress, the only way we can build a resilient health, system is using this alternative source of funding through the infrastructural development, bank. Thank you.
Right. I'm just going to read out here, and
Yes.
one of the functions of the bank, according to the bill, shall be to provide such loans either in naira or other foreign currencies, or both, for the requirements of the eligible infrastructure
Yes.
or project.
Yes.
Now, when we say eligible, what are we looking at? Because across board we have a deficit
Exactly.
of infrastructural appliances, all
Exactly.
over the
Yes.
place. So, what makes you eligible?
Eligible in terms of we can see turnaround, maintenance, we can see return on investment, and we can also see the quality of care that is going to be improved when we invest in that infrastructure.
Because I agree with you, Dr. Bagashi, because even when you travel out of the country, it's not as if you're going for free service.
Exactly.
Yes.
You have to pay for everything.
You have to pay for everything. Now, when we're looking at, let's look at the margin of percentage that you have to pay. Would this Nigerian Health Infrastructure Development Bank be able to, put it averagely so that there can be a repayment process? If the profit, paying back, if it's too high, what they are asking, would people be able, so that it won't be something like, unfortunately, some good things that we've always thought about, and at the end of the day, we really can't develop, we can't deliver on implementation. Any of you can take that.
Just before Honorable also speaks, so I happened to attend the public hearing, for the bill at the National Assembly. And one of the advice we gave the Health Committee on Health is that the investment should be categorized into different segments. So you have a smaller bills of your request. That would be a grant that could be given to a primary health care center. So we should not give a loan to a primary health care center. We should give them a small grant, from the bank. Then with a return on investment and maybe some charges, cancer, therapy. So you can now be given some level of charges that are higher.
Another function of the bank that also caught my interest is encouraging. I'll just read it verbatim here. Encourage and promote the development of indigenous health care infrastructure enterprises and projects in Nigeria. This is interesting. What are we expecting? Honorable, maybe you want to speak to this.
It's really to give people, the opportunity of investing, further within the health, infrastructure, because so far there's this absence of a facility that can be accessible to Nigerians who are interested, in this really, including even the government really, through the provision of this, bank, when set up. In fact, government will be able, to get loans, like Dr. Amino has really specified how this thing, should be at a very low interest rate,
Yes, and when I just hope that this will also, I'm thinking loud, it might not be so, but I'm looking at research centers that we have in the country.
Yes.
You go to, take for example, you go to Naima, Lagos.
Yes.
Heaps and heaps of findings that can address our peculiarities as black people and as Nigerians. So is this going to be factored in? Because we have to finance research.
That is true.
Will this be fine? Yes.
This is very critical because right now, within the national budget for health, there's no adequate money for NIMA. There's no adequate money for NIPRI, that is the pharmaceutical, agency. There's no adequate money for local vaccine production, and even the small money in the budget, because of the COVID-19 and the dwindling resources, that money will not be available. So we see an opportunity for this bank to galvanize action, raise money from the capital market, work with the international financing institution to bring out resources for all the services we need. It is a game changer.
Wow. Wow, this is exciting. It's a solid bridge we are building here. Exactly. So my hope is that, our hope generally is that the concurrence of this bill should be accelerated in such a way that it will come to see the light of the day. And I would also, well, at some point speak to the president of the Nigerian Cancer Society, who also has lent his voice on this and, you know, giving the importance of it. But before I let you go, Honorable, and bring in the cancer president, what would be your message, especially now that the bill is at the Senate? What will be your message? Let's hear from you.
Well, my message is that the senators should fast track the passing of this bill at the Senate level.
Yes.
Are you worried about the implementation, Dr. Manos?
We have to be worried because we need to build capacity.
Okay.
So even after the bill is assented by Mr. President, we have to come together as a health sector community to build the capacity of the human resource that will deliver.
But you're sure that, can we get that? Or do we have to import people in the diaspora?
We are very optimistic.
No.
We have the best hands. Once we encourage them, we create the enabling environment. I'm optimistic Nigerians can deliver.
So is this, are we saying that this would, would be implemented based on PPP or government-owned, government having the largest investment shares?
Yeah, so
what would you advocate for, so that we can have a clearer understanding?
Let's hear from the
The initial thing is the bank would need a take-off grant from the Central Bank of Nigeria. So that would be, you know, to give it a boost. So we're looking at, you know, 10 billion, 20 billion, 50 billion. CBN put the initial take-off grant. Then the bank can now, you know, start looking at for the capital market, you know.
On this interesting edition of Bridges, would be speaking to the president of the Cancer Society of Nigeria, his thoughts on this, because behind the cameras, he sounded so excited. So let's share those exciting moments with him. Bridges will be back in a moment. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You are on Bridges, and I'm sure that this is an interesting edition that concerns all of us. After all, health, they say, is wealth, and ensuring that our infrastructure in the health sector works. It's the concern of this edition of Bridges. We are looking at the Nigerian Health Infrastructure Development Bank, that a bill that was moved by, I was told, from the youngest member of the House of Representatives. So on behalf of all the Bridgers, I salute you, Honorable Mansour Soro from Bauchi, for sponsoring this bill. And I'm sure that, well, we have a consensus here. It's a game changer. We'll attempt to bring him on the program at, you know, as we follow through to this bill. But now I have with me, still just coming on, is the president of the Nigerian Cancer Society, Dr. Adamu Alhassan Omar. You are welcome again on Bridges. And still in the house, we still have the Honorable Swan, who is you know, is the chief advocate for health, as it were now. So quickly, let me just go to you now. What's your thoughts on this Nigerian Health Infrastructure Development Bank? Is it something that will help to ease treatment in cancer and the rest of it? Let's share your thoughts with us.
Welcome. Thank you very much for having me on this program. Sincerely speaking, I must salute the National Assembly, the House of Representatives, for thinking out of the box to bring about a bill like this. And of course, a bill that seeks to establish an infrastructural development bank for health is truly a welcome idea, not only to us in the cancer space, but of course to the entire citizenry of Nigeria. Because what we have been preaching all along is increased budgetary provision to health, increased budgetary provision for infrastructural development in the health sector. Now, if you have a bank, it automatically means that there is more empowerment, not only to the public sector, but of course to the private sector, because you are talking about a bank that can maybe give out loans or can give out grants to private institutions to build capacity. Because we have a lot of problems now in the health sector, and with particular interest to us in the cancer space. You discover that we have a lot of cancer therapy machines that are broken down. Some are not available. And you know, access to care is a very key ingredient, and affordability to care is another, and likewise the availability. So you are talking about, you know, a situation whereby you expect to find 10 machines in a particular hospital, and there is only one, and that very one is not functioning. So this is an avenue. If this bill passes through and gets the presidential assent and, of course, comes into play, this will go a long way in now, you know, making... Exactly. So it is actually a good development to us in the Nigerian cancer space, you know, as we gear on towards the call for universal health coverage for all Nigerians. And this is another step in the right direction that will take us to that area.
Okay, yeah, it will take us, like Professor Lambo, a former health minister, would say, it will take us to the promised land. Promised land. But, you know, Nigerians, it's okay to have this. While we were discussing this off camera, some Nigerians said that, well, the issue for them is accountability and transparency in terms of who gets this loan or who gets this grant, and to follow through for them, you know, to actually utilize the loan or the grant for the purpose for which it was given. So let's discuss this. Is this another concern? Is it something that we should worry about as a people? Honorable Sir.
Well, given current trends, revelations, things that happen, you know, leakages, you know, here, there, Nigerians, you know, have the right, you know, to show, you know, their concern really. But again, the good thing is that by the time this bank, you know, materializes, you know, given, you know, the level of sophistication of, do I say, you know, the media, the awareness of people. People are now very much interested in accountability, following money, you know, to ensure that the money are being used judiciously. Every Nigerian today, look at what happened, you know, with the budget. People follow, you know, the budget to find out, you know, how the budget is really being expended. So while it's really right, you know, for Nigeria, you know, to really show concern, and I'm sure bodies, you know, like what Dr. Aminu, you know, Dr. Aminu Magashi through his platform, the African Health Budget, you know, Network, is an NGO. In fact, today is one of the most prominent in Nigeria that ensures transparency, accountability of money. And then, of course, there are other NGOs like Hamzi, you know, Follow the Money, you know, who educate, you know, Nigerians on the religious to track, you know, budgets, monies that have been really expended. So I assure you there's really going to be a change. There's even a change, you know, currently. Even at the House, you know, today, usually last assembly introduced this idea of budget hearing, whereby any amount of money that is to be budgeted before it is, you know, released, Nigerians, you know, are educated, are enlightened that this is what is in the budget. And it's for everybody, all citizens, you know, to have concern, to follow the money.
Right. Okay. Let's hear from you too, sir.
Well, of course, like the Honorable rightly said, this is truly a legendary idea, thinking out of the box to empower Nigerians to, you know, achieve more in terms of increased budgetary provision to here. So we hope and pray that the concurrence on the part of the Senate will be smooth, that we pray the presidential assent will be quick, and of course, implementation will kickstart.
That's it. So we all look forward that the Nigerian Health Infrastructure Development Bank will come on board as soon as possible. You know, people would say, let it come on like yesterday. Well, that's where we tried to speak to on Bridges today. The need to have these Nigerian Health Infrastructure Development Bank on board as soon as possible, and to ensure accountability and transparency, and the hope that it gives particularly to practitioners themselves, that this infrastructure will be there and there will be no capital flight of Nigerians having to go abroad, to get specialized treatment. They have assured us that for human resources, we have it, but we need to work assiduously and fast track on infrastructure development in Nigeria in the health sector, and the bank will go a long way to accelerate this. So that's all time will permit. I mean, this is a subject that we can go on, talk about it. I'm excited about it. I'm sure the Nigerian advocates for health are excited about it, the Cancer Society, and of course, our other guests that have appeared on this program. We'll keep tracking this particular bill until, of course, it becomes an act and the enabling environment created to make it function and operational as soon as possible. Until that is done, we'll be back again same time next week, and I'll be tracking on that youngest Nigerian member of the House of Representatives to speak to us on what spurred him to bring this wonderful, wonderful bill to life. Thanks for watching. Bridges is on, and we'll be back again same time next week.
As it is widely known that power is the propelling force of industrialization, apart from powering the factories, this plant will also boost the national grid. To complement the federal government agricultural revolution, the governor has constructed a cocoa processing factory, rice processing factory, and a rice seedling producing plant. A garment factory, which was commissioned by His Excellency, the Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, in 2016. The factory is the biggest globally, seating over 500 workers at a shift. This factory partners the Central Bank of Nigeria Anchor Borrowers Project.
In terms of size, and having looked at what they also have produced in terms of what they're able to produce and the attention that's been given to the entire process, I would say that, without doubt, it can compete with any garment factory in the world.
We have over 500 here. With every turn you take here, you see an embroidery machine. I'm blown away.
In the same vein, His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, during one of his visits to the state, commissioned the rice seedling producing plant.
Conceiving project such as this, Governor Ayade has a keen eye for tomorrow.
Industrialization is laudable. An industrialized state stands to experience a high economic revival with controllably reduced crime rate.
The ones that are in the village that we have nothing doing at all, today they can boast of their own shop, their own store where they can feed their family, as the younger ones can sponsor them paying their school fee. I think we have benefited much from this government.
We can also include the customers we get our fabrics from, because to an extent too, we are also increasing their income.
With these, we foresee Cross River State liberated from purely a civil service economy to an industrialized one.
This is the network service of the NTA.